Secret Service wasn't very happy.
Spring break was last week, but it looks like spring break is this week. Because we've got probably about half the number of people, but I'm glad you're here. So yesterday was St. Patrick's Day. And well, I'll tell you where I'm going in just a minute with that, but I'm not wearing my green today. I wore my green yesterday. But my grandfather was Irish, which is why I've got my coloring. But I'm really an American mutt, like all of us, most of us in here. I have a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I even have Chickasaw and Cherokee in me, which you can't tell. But I was looking up yesterday, so I really didn't know the history of St. Patrick's Day. I'm like, well, what is it? You know, like I heard the tale of the lore of the St. Patrick drove the snakes out of Ireland. Yeah.
It's a high holy day.
It's a holy day. Yeah, it's anything like not really religious, but more cultural. But he did land, this is what I discovered, he was actually Roman and he landed in Ireland as a slave. And he escaped slavery. I think he went as slave at the age of 16. And he escaped slavery and left the country, but loved Ireland so much, he returned later on in life. And when he returned later on in life, he had gotten trained to be a priest. And he was using the shamrock as a way to describe the Trinity with 3 leaves. Although today it symbolizes hope, love, and life. And then the 4th one, the 4th leaf, represents love. So it actually began as blue. And it changed to green during the 1600s, 1700s, when there was a big kind of revolution happening in Ireland, where there were a lot of nationalists really coming into the forefront of the culture. And so that's how it switched to the color green. But anyway, this class wasn't just based on the idea of St. Patrick's Day, but the idea that I just love nature and I love the greenery of nature. I love getting out in nature. So usually my celebration of St. Patrick's Day, I'm pretty lame. I'm not a big drinker, so I don't do the green beer or anything like that. I usually go get a green juice or a green smoothie, and I usually take my son out to a park or we go for a hike. And he had to work yesterday, so I didn't really get to spend much time with him. But we usually get outdoors. And so today we're going to focus on tree pose. And not just tree pose that we do from a standing balancing position, but we're going to be doing reclined tree pose as a way to begin our warm up. And we're also going to do Adho Mukha Vrksasana, which is downward facing tree. Do you know what downward facing tree is? It's handstand. So we're going to be working out towards our handstands today. We will be going to the wall to make this happen. And the other piece that inspired this practice is my very first yoga teacher. Her name was Jan Thrasher. She was my first live teacher. And it was at 1-2 Yoga in Donaldson. And she closed the studio a number of years ago. It's now a metaphysical store, a Roman cheese, where I get all my essential oils. If you like essential oils, don't buy them at Whole Foods. Don't buy them from the pyramid companies. Go local. They get them from the same exact farms as all the other pyramid scheme companies, but it's just down the street. Their oils are fabulous, and they're like a really good grade of oils, and they're cheaper. But it's in Donaldson, closer to the airport. But anyway, Jan Thrasher was my first live yoga teacher. And I heard a number of years ago, when she turned 50, her goal was to be able to do a freestyle handstand in the mailroom and not use the wall. And as far as I know, she was able to accomplish that. And I'm turning 50 next week. I have zero desire to do that, which is why we're going to the wall. But it did make me think about her yesterday and that goal that she created for herself and that she was able to do it. I just don't care that much. I like the safety net of the wall. And I think I'll forever use the wall with handstand. So if you do it freestyle, you're certainly welcome to do it freestyle. I just think it's dangerous to have a bunch of people in the room and just directing them to jump into it. But I've been to many workshops over the course of the years with famous teachers who has everybody doing it freestyle on their mat. Because the mats are literally touching all the way across the room. I just think it's dangerous. So we're not gonna do that. We're gonna be safe about it. But because we're gonna be warming up for all this, we gotta get right on into it. So if you want to make your recline tree restorative, grab one of those blocks. We're gonna start with the right leg extended, the left knee bent, and then we're gonna turn open from the hip. So you're in the recline variation of tree pose, Vrikshasana. Close your eyes. And maybe take your hands lightly to your torso. Maybe you want both hands around your hip bones. Maybe you want both hands around the belly. Maybe one hand below and one hand above the navel. Maybe one hand to the belly, one hand to the heart. See what feels intuitive. And then start to magnify your breath. Breathing in such a way that you're opening up your inhale. And freely giving of the exhale. Receiving and deepening the in-breath. Giving and elongating the out-breath. And as you're centering here in this reclined tree pose, I want you to close your eyes and gaze in and up to your mind's eye. And I want you to picture here your favorite tree. It could be one of your imagination. It could be one from your childhood that you used to climb. It could be maybe a tree in your backyard that is starting to bud or be in bloom right now. Maybe it's a patch of trees or your favorite woods or forest you like to escape to. And as you're picturing that in your mind's eye, I want you to recognize that trees are considered sacred and they are symbols of life. They provide calmness. They represent stability and growth. They're also symbolic of interconnectedness and wisdom. In certain cultures, they're associated with the afterlife, ancestral roots, or even divinity. Think about the roots of the tree representing the past, the trunk of the tree representing the present, and the branches representing the possibilities of our future. On your next in-breath, lift your left knee, slide your left leg long. As you exhale, bend your right knee and turn open from the hip. And if you are choosing to use the block, feel free to take it over to support this side. Your hands are welcome to stay as they are. But breathe into the part of your body where your hands are currently at rest. So if they're down at your hip points, can you breathe down into this area? If the hand is up to the heart, can you breathe out to this region? The tree is said to be like birds in a similar way because they connect the earth to the heavens. And if you look in Buddhism, Buddha became enlightened sitting under the Bodhi tree. In Christianity, we refer to the tree of life. But then you can also think about Zacchaeus climbing up the sycamore tree. You could even think about the tree representing sacrifice due to the cross. In Celtic traditions, it's the symbol of wisdom and strength. In Hinduism, the pipal tree, if I'm saying that correctly, represents the tree of God, or Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. And in the Native American culture, there's deep respect for the trees, and they see the trees as being protecting and healing. Now, we are opening this right hip currently, but we're going to move into stretching the legs a little bit more. So grab a hold of your strap, unravel it, and lift your right knee, draw it in towards your chest so the strap can wrap around the ball of the foot, and then send that leg up in the air. Lightly hold the strap, but let your shoulder blades hang down. Notice how the strap gives the foot some extra flexion. More of a stretch in the back of the leg. Find the edge of your flexibility with your hamstrings, but then really extend and power through the left leg. So you're pushing out through your left heel, you're dropping down through your left thigh. And Padangusthasana A. So if you think about the root chakra, which represents the legs and the feet, this can represent our past. What do we need to overcome from the past that we haven't worked through already? Something to be contemplative about here. And then bring the ends of the strap together with your right hand. Let your left hand hold down your left hip. That way the pelvis doesn't tip as you splay the leg to the right. Keep activating your left leg. Feel the stretch moving to the inseam of your thigh. And be cautious with where you're hovering your foot. Make sure you can still openly breathe in Padangusthasana B. On your next in-breath, we're going to slowly lift the right leg back up. When you're ready, scoop in through the belly, lift your head and shoulders off the floor and shoot your left arm and let it hover over your left leg. Then pick up your left foot, point your toes. See if the leg can lower a little bit more towards your face, perhaps. And then exhale, gently release your left foot, release the back of your head. Bend the knee to remove your strap, but we're not done here. Take your hands behind your right thigh, and we're gonna walk up. This is called walking up the tree. So inhale, walk your hands up the back of the leg to the calf, to the foot if you can, the head lifts. And as you exhale, walk the hands back down and recline. And continue this work. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, bringing it down. Be sure to contract your core, those rectus abdominis muscles. We need a strong core when we're working with handstands.
All right, now, the next time you recline, slide your right leg down the length of your mat, bend your left knee, take your strap. Let's do that sequence to this side. So Padangusthasana A at first. Finding your edge of flexibility here. Shooting out through your right leg and foot. Pushing down heavily to the back of your right thigh. And noticing if you have more or less limitation here. Breathe consistently. From Pada A, let's take it to Pada B. So take both ends of the strap into your left hand. Let your right hand hold down your right hip. Teeter it off to the left side. Breath moving in and out. On your next inhale, let's lift the left leg. Take that left hand as close to the foot as possible, and then scoop in through your belly, peel the back of the head and shoulder blades off the ground, hover your right foot, point your toes. Continue to breathe. See if that leg can loosen and maybe dip down towards your nose a little bit more. And then lower your right leg, your right hand, your head. Bend the knee, remove the strap, set the strap to the side. We're going to do walking up the tree. Hands behind your leg, walking it up. Walking it down. And just go in sync with your breath. Now the next time you lift up the left leg, hold it and hover your right. Good, we're gonna scissor on the inhale, scoop and lift on the exhale. Swap on the inhale, scoop and lift on the exhale. Find your pace. End on the left. And then slowly come down and widen your legs. Grab a hold of your feet for Ananda Balasana, blissful baby. So with that Padangusthasana series, the emphasis was more in the legs. However, we were still working with the hips. But now we're moving into this different hip stretch. Pressing lightly through the feet, knees splayed as wide as your body. Notice where your hands are holding your feet and swivel your right hand around to the pinky toe side if it's not there already. And then lengthen your left leg out, hover above the mat, peel the back side of your head up, come to the lightning bolt pose. We're getting the core work out of the way. Gently bring it back, Ananda Balasana, baby. Swivel that left hand around to the pinky toe side of the foot. Extend your right leg, right arm. Scoop into your core. Navel piercing down towards your spine. As you uplift, lightning bolts. Returning to happy baby. And then draw the knees together, crisscross your ankles, rock up, and come to stand. Yes! Sweet, sweet, sweet. Yesterday, people were like, yeah, right. So if you didn't see that, we came from here to here Ground your feet at the top of the mat. Stack your blocks towards the front side of the mat in case you need them. And bring your hands to prayer position. Lodge your feet firmly down into the floor. And when you really lodge your feet down, notice how solid your legs get. And then zip up through your midriff. Lift up through the top of the head. And then as you inhale, let your arms swim up. Let your arms frame your face. Iron your ribs in. So in other words, don't let them poke out. Draw them in. Feel the difference? Flex your wrist. And without getting ribby, right? Because you can't do a handstand when you're ribby. It's all got to be suctioned in like if you're wearing a corset. Now slowly tilt your head back and look up in between your hands. Are your feet really pushing down into the floor? Are your legs solid? Is your core cinching in? When we are upside down, we are looking in between the hands in the Adho Mukha Vrksasana. All right, as you exhale, swan dive forward and down. Uttanasana, you're standing forward fold. Inhale, slide your hands up your legs. Lengthen out through the vertebrae. Exhale, tumble back down and in. Affirming nothing and no one on this earth. And fold, knee down your back. Inhale, left foot steps back. Lower the back knee, shin, foot. Now, if you want to use blocks, you can, but I'm going to freestyle it. You're welcome to do either. So inhale, press through the foot, draw up through the pelvic floor, anchor your back shin, bring the spine up so it's erect, and then as you exhale, flip your right foot, sail the arms behind you, half split. Inhale, half lunge, yogi's choice, freestyle or blocks. Keep this going. Feel free to use that Ujjayi breath. Last one. Now, instead of taking the arms behind you, bring them beside your front leg. Or walk it out more in front. But I want you to drop your head and look at your hips. And make sure that you're not sashaying or really dropping your weight more to that left side. Some of us have the tendency to do that. Affirming here as you hold, I choose to dwell with an infinite possibilities. And think about that's what the branches represent of the tree. We have infinite possibilities depending on the choices we make. All right, come back to the sole of the foot. Curl the back toes under. You're going to stand in plank. Now, when I say stand in plank, stand on your hands, right? This could technically be a handstand pose. And what you're experiencing in your legs and in your core should mimic what you're doing in handstand. So are your thighs rolling in and powering back? In this case, up. Are your hands really pushing the floor away from you? Do you feel the action involved in your upper back? All right, now tip forward. Lower down to chaturanga. Inhale to up dog. Exhale, roll it back to downward facing dog. Now in your downward facing dog, make sure your fingers are spread. You're distributing the weight evenly between each one. Your shoulders are level. Your arms are stretching. Your hips are rising. And look at that space between the big toes. Activate your pranayama. On your next in-breath, We're gonna take the left foot forward and up between the hands. Lunge the knee, drop the back knee, shin foot. Inhale up to Anjaneyasana. So you're using the root lock, belly lock here. And then if you want to freestyle, half split. Feel free to use the blocks. Inhale, half lunge. Exhale, half split. On this final one, you can take the arms down to the ground. Dropping your head to make sure you're not sinking over into the right hip. And when you're ready, come forward to the sole of the foot, curl the back toes under. When you're ready, step back plank. Hold your plank. Stack shoulders, elbows, wrists. That structure of bone stacking, joint stacking is what we need for our handstands. So we're just building up some awareness and strength here in plank. Good, now rock forward, lower down, chaturanga. Inhale to up dog, neck elongating away from the shoulders, and then exhale, roll it back, down dog. Inhale, take your left foot halfway up the mat. Pick up your right leg, but you're not scissoring it. And then shift your shoulders over your wrist. Like you're about to lift off, but you're not. Just notice how it feels in your arms. Can you straighten out through your elbows more? Can you maintain that gaze between your hands? Now, tiptoe the right foot back to the floor, step back, down dog. Let's become familiar with it on the second side. Right foot steps about halfway up, be on the ball of the foot. Let your left leg float up, shoulder, elbows, wrist stacking, hands pressing, strong upper body, strong core, belly hugging in. Set that drishti. Good. Now tiptoe the left foot down, press back, down dog. When you're ready, step both feet up to the top of the mat. Slide your hands up your legs. Exhale, close the gap. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Now pause a second. Again, press down to the mound of the big toes, mound of the toes, mound of the inner heel, mound of the outer heel. Once you have your legs stacked, cinch in through your belly, through your ribs, flex your hands, and then just your neck, just your neck. Lean your head back and look towards your hands. Exhale. Free fall down, Uttanasana, and then halfway lift. Exhale, drape back down. Good, inhale, left leg steps back. Now I'm gonna choose blocks for this one. You can determine yes or no. So we're gonna lunge the front knee and lengthen out through the sternum. But then as we exhale, we're gonna lift the right toes and straighten the front leg, rocking the hips back. All right, now lunge the knee, flatten your right foot. Peel the ball of the foot off the floor, jut the toes up as you bow your head down. Couple more of those. The next time you come down to the flat foot, you're gonna offset your left foot, straighten out your legs, lift your hands off the floor, square your hips. All right, we're gonna circle the arms behind the back and we're gonna clasp a hold of the left arm with the right. So the right arm's cupped up underneath, lean back, exhale, forward fold, press down through your feet and slightly turn your navel towards your right knee. Shoulders stay even, right hip squeezes towards you. Gazing towards your foot or your toes. Finding your edge of flexibility. But it's not just a stretch. Let it be the blend of strength and stretch. There's a difference. If you're applying the work, you're doing it correctly. All right, inhale. Slowly lift halfway up. Lunge the knee enough that you release your hands, find your blocks, and put them way ahead of that right foot so that as you shift your shoulders back over your hands, your left leg's gonna lift off. Good, now square your hips. We're not scissoring the leg up, it's like an L-shaped form. You're pushing the left foot toward the wall behind your back. All right, from here, you're gonna bend the standing knee, and then you're gonna curl the left knee in towards your face. Head curling in towards the knee. Inhale, extend out through your limbs, through your back. You got it. Exhale, contract and curl in. Continue. One more. Now, stay with me a minute. Inhale, extend. Exhale, bend the right knee, lengthen your left foot back, and lower the foot. Then bring your hands back. You got it. Right foot to length. Shoulders backing over hands. Belly nice and firm. Rock forward, lower down to chaturanga. Inhale to up dog. Exhale, down dog. Emphasize your breath. Remember, the asana should be a steady, held position. Then the breath will help us to gain what's called pratyahara, sensory transcendence. So we're not as governed or controlled or distracted by our senses or information being received. That leads us into concentration. The concentration leads to meditation, and meditation leads us to absorption. Samadhi, the place of bliss. Inhale, left foot steps through. I'm going to use my blocks again. You can choose whether or not you want to or not. Lunging the knee. Then lifting the left toes today, squaring the hips. So roll that right hip forward towards the short edge side of your mat. And then exhale, land the foot, reach up to the heart. And then you're just rocking back and forth between the two. One more sequence. Now offset your right foot, float your hands up. Arms behind you, this time the left arm underneath. And this will give us a moment to stretch the shoulders because we're going to be doing a lot of strengthening. Open up the heart, throat. Exhale, pour down. Nice and slow, slow and steady. right? We're channeling the tree today. Gazing out towards your toes if it doesn't strain your neck. Keeping your breath alive. Maybe even affirming, I give myself over to the flow of grace. Inhale, come up halfway. Let your arms dangle, find your blocks. Lunge the knee to step the blocks forward, and then pick up your right leg. Fire into that foot. That's a float. So as you're here, if you want to make sure that your hips are square, because obviously you can't turn around and look, feel the sensation in your standing leg. If you're only feeling your inner thigh, your right hip is hiking up too much. But if you feel strength in the front of the thigh, the back of the thigh, the inner thigh, the outer thigh, you're good. All right, let's contract and curl. Inhale, create those long lines. You got it. This time, when you lengthen out, that's where we're gonna bend the front knee, tiptoe the back foot down, then walk the hands back. Next vinyasa, step to plank. Pause in your plank. Thighs rolling in and back. If your tailbone's tucked too much, if your sits bones are flaring back, you're not gonna have the alignment for your handstand. So it all comes into action here. All right, when you're ready, rock forward, lower down, chaturanga. Into up dog. Out to down dog. Everybody take a cleansing breath in through the nose, blow it out through the mouth. Good, inhale, bring the feet to the top of the mat, lift halfway up. Exhale, roll it down. Inhale all the way up. All right, so notice, we start to get ribby. So, thighs roll in, feet pressurized to the floor, belly zips up, ribs and chin, arms up high, flex your hands, and then just tilt your neck back. And then straighten your arms more. All right, last float, exhale, release. In and halfway lift. Out and drop in. Inhale, left foot steps back. Exhale, descend your back knee. Left hand goes a little off to the side because your right arm is going to circle up and back. Now, lift your left foot. You're already in the pose, okay? If your hand can find the foot, then draw it towards you. Please don't force to find the foot. Don't get into any awkward positions to try to find it, because if you get a cramp, that's just not fun. Nobody wants a cramp. And that takes us out of our yoga. So just do what you can. Good, release the back leg. Now push down through the top of the back foot. Inhale, pull up through the pelvic floor, bring your arms in front of your chest and curl the fingers in. All right, pull back on your left arm, thumb to the top of the head. Archer's pose, we need a twist. We still want this to be a whole body experience. We want to bring in all the groupings of the poses, even though we have a peak pose in mind. So you're spinning, twisting to the right. Follow your hand back around, nice and slow. And release your hands. Curl the back toes under, step into your plank. You know what to do here. And then when you're ready, vinyasa. Left leg next, step it through, drop the back knee. You can keep the back toes tucked here because we're gonna offset and ground the right hand. We're gonna lift and circle the left arm back behind and then pick up the right foot. So you're already getting some work in the quads, whether or not you hold the foot or not. Patience. Remove the back hand, lower the back foot. Inhale, come up. Exhale, fingers in. Right arm draws the bow. Right hand to the crown. Spin to your left. Affirming, I am focused on sending my love and light out into the world. Keep your eyes focused as you unwind. Bring the hands down. Curl the back toes. Last vinyasa. Standing in your plank. Rocking forward, lower down to chaturanga. Inhale to up dog. Exhale to down dog. All right, one more time here. Left foot halfway up towards your hands. But lift your left heel. This time, see if you can scissor the right leg higher, pointing the toes. But notice how when we start to do that, we lose the grip of the arms. So really push through your palms. Lift your head up. Look at that space between your index fingers. Arms, arms, core, core. Now tiptoe down. Left foot back. That's already hard, isn't it? Right foot forward. I mean, it's hard when you're trying to put all the pieces together. Because when you elevate your right heel and scissor the left leg up, I hardly feel any weight on my hands, right? You probably do too. So you have to push down through your hands as if you're not even using your right leg. Good. Now tiptoe the left foot down. Step back, down dog. Come down to your knees. Circle the arms around you for child's. I want to give you a quick break here. Good time to get water if you need it. Good time to relax your wrists, relax your arms and shoulders, because they're going to be required in a few minutes. As you're here, relaxing and breathing, remember, you receive our oxygen from the trees, from the plant kingdom. And they can't survive without us, because they thrive off of our carbon dioxide. There is an interconnectedness. Everything is truly interwoven. There's a mastermind behind the plan of creation. Inhale, stretch your arms forward. Rock up hands and knees. Exhale, downward facing dog. Now, this time we're going to bend the knees and we're going to lift the head up and look toward the hands. And we're going to try to lightly hop the feet forward where there's not a big pound on the ground. Then straighten your legs, lengthen out through the spine. Sweep the arms to your sides and up. All right, exhale, hands to heart. Okay, we haven't done this in a while. And honestly, I don't feel like doing it the advanced way, but you might. So if you're feeling like 100% today, lace up your hands, roll the shoulders back, and you can go into toppling tree, which is like a standing split. I'm using my hands today because I don't want to do that, but you can, okay? So basically, I'm going to do a standing split. And you can keep your hands interlaced if you want that challenge. You're basically going towards the same split, but without using your hands. See why I didn't want to do it today? But you could also explore, if you are using your hands to balance, you could also explore just lifting your hands up, right? You could also wrap them behind your standing calf. Toppling tree. All right, when you're ready, safely come down with your right foot. Look at you, Martha, go, go, go. You could be the model. If you want the toppling tree with the challenge, you can lace your hands behind your back. I'm going to do it. So you were upside down when I was showing you what I was doing. So what I was doing today, because I didn't feel like the challenge, I just felt like, okay, I'm just going to lift my arms. And then eventually I brought them behind the calf. So you can also do that if you want to do it the same way. So when you're ready, let's move towards toppling tree, similar to standing split, except try to do it without hands somehow, some way. Maybe it's just a brief few seconds. All right, when you're ready, slowly bring the left foot down, safely, cautiously come up. How are we doing? Good. Now we get to go for tree. So, I can't turn that way. Being really close to the light walls is hard. Bend your right knee, turn open from the hip. Now, if your balance isn't 30 today, it's okay to be here. This is still tree. If you want to bring it to your calf, you can. If you want to bring it to your inner thigh, you can. But let's make it like a pine tree and let the arms stretch up and maybe create a little peak at the top, palms touching. And then broaden your branches like a big oak tree. And let them come down like a weeping willow. And then let's release that butt. Some good strong trees today. All right, ground your right foot. Bend your left knee. Discover where you want to place your foot. And we'll do the same sequence. We come like the pine. Broaden your branches like a southern oak tree. There's lots of shade. And arms coming down like a weeping willow. All right, are we ready? We're ready. I think we're good. Let's, just so you know, if you come to this wall, you will be in the view of the camera. So you don't have to move up here. You don't want to. There's plenty of room at the back wall. But I would move the mat all the way there.
And then, you know, you can join me up here if you want. Renee, come on. I know you're up here. Come on, bring him in. So we're gonna do it, thank you for not fun. So we're gonna do this 3 different ways. We're gonna do it the easiest way first. Because I don't know how you're coming in today. I may have totally fatigued your hands and shoulders at this point. And that's what we need to assess. And so the best way to assess that is to do it the most gentle way first. And the most gentle way first is we're going to use the wall. Our back is to the wall. And it's going to look like this. And then you can mimic me. I'm walking away about a foot or 2 to bring the hands down. Now I'm able to drop my head. I can see the wall. And then I have to activate my arms because now I'm going to put a foot up. And I'm going to walk like a spider up the wall. But then, right, I can look towards the wall, but remember in handstand, we want to try to get the shoulders over the wrist. We want to try to look down towards the hands. And you also want to make sure you're not bowing your back. So your belly is plugging in. Okay. Try the easy way first. Standing away from the wall. I think you would come out. Walk. Now, bend your knees. Now, get your hands on now. And if not, you can make this. Awesome. Okay, you've got the easy way. Some of you are already exploring the second way I'm going to show you, which is fine too, because some of you are more experienced. Second way, how'd you like the first way? So if you're ever out in a park, do it with a tree. It's awesome. I used to do yoga kids at Pigman Park all the time, and we would circle around the trees and we would all climb up that. The second variation, and I'll demo and then you can go for it. Your feet are flush to the baseboard, and then you figure out your hands kind of somewhat near your hips. And that's our measurement. So wherever your hand landed, you're coming back to that spot. Now, it's kind of similar. You walk up. However, you don't angle the body. You're more in an L shape, 90-degree angle. And then you can fly 1 foot up and just test it out. You still have the wall as your BFF right now. It's harder the second go round because now you're stacking your hips as well as your shoulders. Okay, now Heather, you're getting super ribby. See how, yeah, see, it's like such an in. So really, I think you're too far away from the wall. Like your measurement was slightly off. Ribs in, horse it on, slurp all through the belly. Remember Kate Moyer? She used to always give the slurping sound. She would always do that. I know, it starts to get to be a lot on the hands. Do we have one more in this? If you don't, it's okay, because I get it. It's a lot. So the last one is what we were doing for downward facing dog. So do you guys know Jane Campbell? She's an incredible iron guard teacher. I don't even know if she still teaches because she was in her 80s before the pandemic. She didn't look like it. And she certainly could perform just about every yoga pose in the books. I went to her for a private one time. And I'm like, I want to learn handstand from you. And she was like, but you're a yoga teacher, you know what to do. And I'm like, actually, I was never taught handstand in yoga teacher training. We didn't do the fancy stuff. And I want to learn it from you. And so she taught it this way. Okay.
And there's also other ways that she taught me. You don't want your hands all the way at the wall, because remember your head's gonna lift up. You want your hand away from the wall. You're gonna be in downward facing dog. And then you're gonna step a foot forward and start to shift your shoulders, right, over your hands. Now see, I drop the head first, because I like to find the wall. Then I look down towards the hands. Then I slurp in through the belly. Then I try to explore. Is it gonna be possible today? Maybe. I can't hold it. Good enough for me though. So try that one. The other way is bunny hopping. Bunny hopping both feet. And I have seen both men and women that are powerhouses that can bring the feet up and literally float the feet. Not jump. It's beautiful to see. I wish I could show you. Do you do that?
I can't float them up, no.
I can't do that either.
That's a total power. You gotta have super core.
It's so such power. Yeah. All right, you want to try the down dog version? And then you'll feel, right, which leg is more confident to bounce up from. You can experiment with both. And then if you're done with this, do legs at the wall, because that's where we're gonna go after that. You did Jim's way.
I did.
Yeah.
Do the other way. Yes, every fight for money.
Are there any questions? I don't force this. I'm all about being compassionate with yourself, finding your confidence, creating your faith in the pose, and the faith in yourself to be able to piece it together. And there will be a point where you start to fatigue out, so honor that, please. And the beauty of being at the wall, you can just sit legs on the wall for Shavasana. So we worked a lot with the legs, we worked a lot with worked a lot with the arms, wrists, shoulders. So this will allow you to create a restorative position so that all of these areas are being supported and not working longer. So handstand, Adho Mukha Vrikshasana, downward facing tree is technical name for that pose. Learning to conquer our fear and to do something new like this, or out of the norm, helps us to move through challenges, to broaden our horizons, to explore possibilities, to build strength, body awareness, and balance. Now, as you settle into your body, and as you drop the control over your breath, I want you to come back and envision your favorite tree or patch of trees or the woods that may have your favorite trail. I want you to see trees as a vessel of divine energy and interconnectedness. How the trees can teach us to accept and to embrace cycles
seasons and changes. I would encourage you, now that we're moving into springtime and prettier weather, to start noticing the trees that are budding or in bloom. I would encourage you to move into the woods or the forest and to do some forest bathing that has been shown scientifically to reduce stress, to lower blood pressure, and to boost overall health. And even if you're not typically a tree hugger, try hugging a tree. Ask it to absorb or to help to transmute any negative energy. And ask and be willing to receive any positive energy or wisdom from the tree. They are as alive as we are. And they are discovering that they even communicate with each other through their roots. Slide down the wall. And then in here, with your feet flat to the surface, and they can be somewhat close together, or you can even widen them apart and let the knees flop a little bit. Either way. And then roll over to your right side. Come up the same seat. Your hands, the prayer position. at your heart or your brow. The light within me honors and bows to the beautiful light that each of you. I appreciate your presence today and always. Namaste. So I also discovered there's this retreat center in the Redwoods outside San Francisco. And I just discovered that over the weekend. So now I'm like, that needs to be a retreat next year. More boards, baby. But speaking of retreats, I am going to be leading one to Peru. I leave Friday. I'll be gone for a week, so I won't be here next week. Christy will be here to sub for me, so you're in good hands. And Mary's not going to be here because she's coming with me. I'm sure I'll have plenty of stories to share when I get back. So the day after Easter, I'll get to share some of our adventures. Enjoy your day and go hug a tree.